hello, glowing goddess. Hello, perfect looking skin. Hi you guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I'm so excited for this video. We are talking about Rose Ink today. We are doing a new Rose Ink review. We are talking about the Rose Ink Cream Highlighter and the Rose Ink Cream Bronzer, and I'm freaking jazzed. I really like the Rose Ink cream blush, so I'm really excited about this formula, and I was really excited to grab them and try them out because the cream blush is so long lasting and so pigmented, you guys. I'm jazzed about that. Like, love it. Have it in 2 shades. Can't wait for more to come out. So I was really excited to get my hands on the Rose Ink cream blush and cream, not cream blush, cream bronzer and cream highlighter. So we're going to do a full try on. Obviously, I'm looking a little lackluster, little drab right now, need a little bronziness on me. We're going to be doing a full try on so you can see kind of how it applies and wears and stuff like that. And then we're going to be doing like finished blush and all that. And then we're going to be comparing and contrasting to other products that I have in my collection that I feel like you guys would want to know. How do they perform against? So let's just kind of get into this video because I keep on yapping on, and we want to get into the review. So if you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this Rose Ink Cream Bronzer and Rose Ink Cream Highlighter review. All right, you guys, let's get into it. So we have the products here. Very exciting. So the same like signature style packaging that kind of low key looks like a toilet seat. Like, tell me this isn't a toilet seat. Like, if you saw this, you'd be like, that's a toilet. It's toilet seat, just like the shape. I don't know who said it originally and it made me cackle laugh, but also now I can't unsee it, but that's fine. It works, right? Like it gets the job done. So this is the highlighter. I have the shade Prismatic in this one. And then in the bronzer, I just want to say, it does not open like the rest. She is not like the others, okay? Because I thought I had such a hard time trying to open it. I thought I like got a faulty one or something like that. It twists off. Took me a little bit to get there. Real embarrassed about that because I kept trying and I was like, what am I doing wrong? Am I just absolutely out of my dang mind? Like, why can't I figure it out? And then it was just twist off. So embarrassing. But this is the bronzer that I got, and I got the shade Seychelles, which is a really pretty shade. And I really like actually this packaging. I like the twist off of it all. I really like that it's twist off, and I really do enjoy the fact that it's like a bigger pan because I feel like for cream bronzers in general, the bigger pan is just the vibe. It really is. And I feel like Chanel really set the tone for like how big pans should be for cream bronzers that are in pans. And we're going to be talking about all of that later. We're going to be comparing and contrasting. But first, let's get into the product. So again, this is the shade Seychelles, and this is the, I don't know if I said this is the second darkest. So there's 4 shades total. This is the second darkest. I feel like there could add some more shades to it, and hopefully that they do, because it just, there's never enough dark shades, right? And sometimes if they make dark shades, or even sometimes the entire collection's like, excuse, hello orange, and you're like, girl, is everyone okay? Who fell in the Cheeto factory? So I do think that there could be more shades, and I do hope they expand it. But the deep shade that they do have, that is one darker, is pretty dark, which is nice. But still, there can always room for improvement. So let's talk about this. I was actually expecting that the shades of the bronzer to be orange, and I'm only saying that because I found with the foundation or the tinted serum, low orange, and I really struggle with brands sometimes not getting the neutral right, but I feel like this is a nice shade. So this is definitely, for me personally, for bronzer, I like to be a little bit darker than my average, like what I like, which is fine, it works, but I like something a little bit lighter. But I do like the fact that this isn't skewing orange, and it doesn't look like the other deep shade would skew orange either. Now with the other shades, I actually also feel like they don't look super orange, which is really nice, at least from the swatches. Now we all know that I feel like sometimes with swatching, like, it's not accurate. So I was really concerned with this being like super dark based off of the pictures online. However, it's not that dark at all in any way. So I feel like their online swatching still not great, but that's okay. So we're going to try this on. Now I'm just going to take a brush like this. I'm going to make sure that the brush is clean. I just clean my brushes, but I feel like I always like could do better. So I'm gonna wipe this off, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna dip in with a brush and apply it to my face. And that's kind of how I've been applying it recently. And so I'm gonna just apply it like that so you can kind of see. So that's what it looks like. And then I'm gonna kind of stamp it in on this side. And that is, I definitely pulled it a little further down, but I normally wouldn't pull it this far down, but I really want you to be able to see the full effect. And we won't pull it. I'm gonna do one side a little bit different. And you can kind of see. So that is the bronze. And it's nice because, again, I was saying this with another bronzer review that I did before this one. It is nice when you can stamp a bronzer in instead of wipe it. I mean, you can wipe it with this too, but I like that it blends out seamlessly with just stamp it. So that is the bronzer, and I feel like it's really pretty. Again, I do feel like in terms of shades, they could expand the shade range, definitely. Okay, so that is that done. You can kind of see how that looks. Now I am going to take another brush that's a little bit fluffier and just go around the edges. In general, that's what I like to do when I apply cream products. If I apply them with a brush, is to go over with a clean brush like this and kind of go over the edges to kind of tone down the harshness of the lines on the sides. But I definitely feel like that gives me a really pretty bronze. I mean, you can definitely see a difference in what it does. It's not super orange or anything like that, which I really, really enjoy. So now I'm going to actually apply with my fingers, which I feel like I'm not going to blend with my fingers because that's crazy, but look how cute. I'm going to apply with my fingers just around the edge of my face so you can kind of see the difference of how it blends when you do it like that. You can also do it with a beauty sponge and it works great like that too, but that kind of applies really similarly as it does like with a brush. So we're not going to do that today. I'm going to just take it around. And I do feel like when I apply it directly to my face as opposed to when I dip in with a brush, I kind of have not only more control over the product. I mean, I guess it depends on the size of your face too, right? But I feel like I have more control over the product, but also I somehow get more pigmentation, which I don't normally find with a lot of cream bronzers. Sometimes I find just using a brush directly to my face, I get the most pigmentation. But with this, I feel like for some reason, I don't have that. It's kind of the opposite, but you can kind of see the difference there. I feel like this side definitely looks like it's a little bit more controlled. I mean, both sides are beautiful, but like I have had a little bit more control over the product because of the size of this, but this is not a very big brush at all. I just have a small face, so it's just preference there, but we're gonna just keep blending. Okay, really happy with that. Again, I'm gonna take this and just go around the edge on both sides and just make sure everything looks really pretty and seamless. And you can see it doesn't give me like a weird cast on the forehead because it just melts into the skin. And especially when you do a little bronzer on your forehead, sometimes you can get like a weird helmet. This doesn't really do that because it melts into the skin just so seamlessly. Really, really pretty. I definitely like this side better in terms of the fact that like applying it with my fingers and then like blending it out with a brush is my favorite way to do it with this bronzer specifically, especially with the size brushes I have, because smaller brushes, I feel like when I do that with bronzer, it kind of, I don't know, I don't get the diffused look as much as I like. You can see it's really pretty. I really like the way that it blends out. It just looks so seamless and gorge. So now let's apply the Rose Ink highlighter. And again, this is in the shade Prismatic. They had a lot more options in the highlighters. Everyone kind of, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like everyone kind of has their own preference on how, like what type of highlighter they like. Some people like something that's a little bit more bronzy in tone. Some people like something that's a little bit more pinky in tone. So it's nice to have a lot of options, or something that's super, super light. I kind of prefer something a little bit golden that just kind of melts into the skin and makes me look like a glowing goddess, but hey, that's just me. So again, this is the shade Prismatic, and I'm going to swatch a little bit on the back of my hand for you here, just so you can see what that looks like. So it is a really pretty, like goldeny tone. Now I'm going to apply it to my cheekbones, and oh, I love highlighter. I love highlighter, but I like something that isn't too intense. I mean, gone are the days where I would like dip myself in highlighter forever. Look how pretty that is. I mean, just so pretty. So I'm gonna apply it on this side too. You can kind of see the difference. So here's with highlighter, it just melts into the skin, and here's without highlighters. Where do you guys like to place your highlighter? I really like the C right here, and then I like to do on my nose a little bit. So I'm going to take a little bit and do right here on my nose, and then just at the tip. And I just feel like that, I don't know what it is about that, but I feel like that just gives me the prettiest just look in general. It's just like oh, hello, glowing goddess. Hello, perfect looking skin. Like, I just feel like it makes me look so young. And that's the goal, to look young forever. I know I've said that a million times, but I just feel it. Okay, so that is that done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply a little bit of blush. We're going to come back and we're going to do a full breakdown and compare and contrast. Okay, so we are back. We're blushed up, not a ton. I'm liking this little bit more, like a little sun-kissed, but like she's mostly a glowing bronze goddess. So we did a little bit of a simple cheek, but this is a finished up look. Now let's get into the nitty gritty, you guys. Okay, let's talk about the bronzer first. So again, this is the Rose Ink Cream Bronzer. I have the shade Seychelles here. Now, let me clean off the back of my hand so we can do a little swatching. So I actually have another bronzer that has the shade Seychelles. It's called Seychelles as well. It's from the brand Tarte. And I feel like, I just want to say, like, Rose Ink did a nice job with the undertones, because I feel like a lot of brands, it can come off a little bit ashy, not always, or like super orange, but I feel like they did a good job and I was not expecting them to. So this is the Seychelles from Tarte and this is the Seychelles from Rose Ink, and you can definitely see a difference for sure. And I feel like Rose Ink, although whatever you call it is whatever you call it, but I feel like if I'm comparing shade names, right, like I feel like Rose Ink just did such a good job, because these are really, really blendable, as you see. So even if it looks like, whoa, that's really, really pigmented, it's so blendable that it doesn't look crazy, but it's so blendable too that, like, sometimes when you get bronzers that are super blendable, as you blend them and you go, it gets like orange and you're like, wait, what's happening here? Why am I all of a sudden in Oompa Loompa? Why am I Charlie in the Chocolate Factory?
Are you happy now, David? Is this what you wanted? You look like a cheese puff.
Like, can we fix this? And I feel like this is really, really nice. And I feel like with Rose Ink undertones, I had like some complaints, not for everything, but for like especially the foundation, where I felt like it just skewed completely the wrong way. And they really, really course corrected with this, and I'm very impressed. So that is the Tarte versus the Rose Ink Cream Bronzer. What I will say is I feel like they're actually very, very similar in the way that they wear and the vibe, because I feel like this bronzer, the Tarte bronzer, the Rose Ink bronzer, and another one I'm going to talk about are very, very similar in almost identical way to the Chanel bronzer that everyone's obsessed with, but with more shade options and better undertones. So I would say these are very, very comparable. Again, we have the Say Beauty bronzer, which is also in a pot, and this is in the shade medium bronze, and which is like just so pretty. I really like this shade, and I just love it. But you can see the undertone is very different. It's definitely warmer, but when I blend it out, I feel like the Rose Ink one is serving something that the other ones that I'm talking about right now are not. And I think that that is really, really nice, because undertone wise, I do love the Say Beauty bronzer and I use this all the time. I do feel like undertone wise, specifically the mid-tone section, is very much underserved. Oh, I'm not wearing anything on my lips. Does that look crazy? Should we put a little lip liner on? Little Victoria Beckham 02. Okay, lip liner on. Let's keep going. I feel like the undertone here is just really, really nice. Now, I really like these, again, comparably. I think that they're very, very similar. I would say maybe the Rose Ink one lasts a little bit longer than the Say Beauty one, but the Say Beauty one lasts super, super long. And they're very, very similar and comparable in terms of the consistency and wear and all of that. I'm actually really, really impressed with Rose Ink, because again, I feel like in terms of the mid section, because there's only 4 shades total, they definitely gave something that is vast in how many people can use it, as opposed to just giving warm or just giving something that's more of a contour, which I really enjoy. Okay, so then next let's move on and talk about the Persona Cosmetics one, and actually the LYS Beauty, these 2 sticks, versus the Rose Ink Cream Bronzer, because the LYS Beauty Cream Bronzer that review is up came out similarly, undertones and shades, I mean, unmatched range. If you're looking for really diverse options, LYS Beauty is your girl. But I do want to say, I feel like with the LYS Beauty one, I'm going to swatch it kind of, okay, I'm going to do that here. You have like a nice shade option that isn't super warm. It's still like serving neutral, but it's giving something a little less intense than the Rose Ink one, which is here. This is the LYS Beauty one, and this is in the shade Harmony, and this is the second lightest shade. So you can see here the darker shade would definitely be more on course with the shade Courage, I believe is the darker shade, would be more on course with this one here. Now I also want to talk about the Persona Cosmetics one. That is not it. That is their blush, which review is coming soon, you guys. The Persona Cosmetics one is, I'm going to swatch it here. Again, this is definitely on the warmer side, as you can see, and that's not bad. I still really enjoy it, but it really depends on the vibe and your undertone and also your preference. Sometimes I want to go a little bit more warm, and I'm loving this, but if I want something more neutral and like everyday, I go LYS Beauty. I would also go Rose Ink. I feel like formula-wise, the Rose Ink Cream Bronzer is just crazy good, and I would say, and I hate to say, no, I don't hate to say it, it is now moving into more of my top favorite cream bronzer. And I would say maybe, dare I say, because of the tone, replacing right now only at least the Say Beauty bronzer. They are both really, really similar though, and I really enjoy both of these. There's just something that the Rose Ink one is giving in undertone that I feel like a lot of other ones that I have in my collection aren't giving me. Except for the LYS Beauty one, which, like, girl, she's so cute. I like can't. I'm obsessed. But really, really like these bronzers. Okay, next, let's move on to highlighter. So this is the Rose Ink highlighter. This is the shade Prismatic. Again, I just swatched on the back of my hand, but I just want to show you. This is it. It's so pretty. It's like a champagne-y tone, but it's a little bit darker than the one I'm going to talk about. And it just, I mean, look how beautiful that is. It just melts into the skin and it gives something without it being too intense. I don't love highlighters that kind of just sit on the face. Sometimes cream highlighters don't all melt into the skin the same way. And I feel like it feels like they should, but they don't. Or sometimes cream highlighters don't give enough. Because right now I'm in studio light, so you're definitely seeing it, but in person you can also see it, but it doesn't look crazy. It looks very wearable for during the day, and it isn't super shiny. It has a sheen to it. It has a little bit of shimmer to it, but it's not glitter. You're not looking crazy. Even though, you know what, I love a glitter. What was the Anastasia Beverly Hills one that was a huge deal? I'll have to, like, if I can find a picture of it, I will. Like that more glittery style. She's cute, but for every day I want something to melt into the skin, especially for summertime when I want to look like a youthful, like, cutie at the beach or whatever. And if I want a little bit of sheen, I want it to be very natural looking, but still like give me a little something, and this is great. So let's compare it to the one highlighter I've talked about the most on this channel, the Minori highlighter in the shade Champagne. I'm obsessed with this, and this is a little bit, I would say a little bit less warm, but it also is a little bit lighter in tone. So I'm gonna just swatch that here. Yeah, you can tell the difference. So this one here is the Minori highlighter, and this one here is the Rose Ink highlighter. And both beautiful, both melt into the skin. The consistency is definitely a little, like, it's definitely different. So I would say the Minori highlighter is very lightweight and very thin. The Rose Ink one isn't thick, but it's a little bit thicker and a little bit creamier, if that makes sense. And it kind of, they both melt into the skin, but they definitely, the Rose Ink one has more pigmentation. So that's kind of the difference there. I use this constantly, and I feel like they do the same thing where they melt into the skin. Again, the Minori one is a little bit thinner in consistency, so it melts ever so more quickly. However, the Rose Ink one, the cream highlighter, melts into the skin just as beautifully. I kind of have to tap a little bit more, as where the Minori one, just kind of, because it's so like thin, it just kind of melts right away. Barely a difference, but a difference there. So consistency wise, a little bit different. I would say in terms of long wearingness, they're very, very similar. I think that the Rose Ink one might wear ever so slightly longer, but not a ton. Like the pigmentation is so different. I would definitely say the Rose Ink one is more pigmented, that the way that they wear throughout the day is similar, but the Minori one looks a little bit less towards the end of the day because it's less, if that makes sense. Like it's a thinner consistency. However, I love both of these. They're really, really great. What I will say is I feel like the Rose Ink one, for me getting a little bit tanner or going with like more like a darker bronzer, this is going to be the one I'm grabbing right now because I feel like the tone is just a little bit better for my needs. However, obsessed with both of these. They are both amazing, and I'm definitely adding this like into my little vanity. I have my makeup of the moment, but I have my makeup that I'm constantly grabbing, or ones that I'm testing or whatever it is. This is moving into that. She is moving into that. The Rose Ink highlighter is amazing, and so is the Rose Ink cream bronzer. I am a huge fan of both of these. I would love to know your thoughts down below. What do you think about the bronzer? If you've tried it, do you like the new component twist up? Oh wait, better answer this question. Did you have a hard time figuring out how to open it? Please tell me I wasn't alone, because I literally was like, what is happening here? And I would love to know what your thoughts are also on the cream highlighter. Do you like both of these? Do you have a preference over both of these? Or if you don't like either of these, what are other suggestions that you have for bronzer, cream bronzer, and cream highlighter that I haven't mentioned today? Let me know down below. And yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.